let's get to what Hemen Kapadia recommends you do in trade before we move any further. Let's pull up his first stock pick. There you go. Bharat Forge is a buy for him with a stop loss at 281 and a price target of 311 is what he's put on Bharat Forge. Tata Communications, he's been quite bullish on this one stock. 280 is the price target that he set out with a stop at T and Petronet LNG as well as a buy with a price target of 83.
Escorts has bagged a fairly biggish order from Africa to supply over 1,400 tractors. To talk more about it and several other key issues, joining us now from New Delhi is Rohtash Mal, Chief Executive Officer at Escorts. Mr. Mal, thank you so very much for joining us on the show. Now, Escorts has bagged a $40 million order from Tanzania to supply 30 units of farm tractors. Now, apart from the financial angle, can you state how big an opportunity this is for Escorts?
Well, I do need to tell you that this is one of the largest orders ever that has been given to an Indian company from the African continent. And combined with the other countries that we operate in Africa, this means a lot of tractorization of Tanzanian agriculture and a lot of implements to raise the level of yields in Tanzania.
So, Mr. Mal, is this a reflection of the seriousness with which Escorts is now looking at Africa as a geography?
That would be a correct inference. We have been very active in Africa over the last many years, and this merely underscores that fact. Going forward, within our plans are a much stronger presence than even this in Africa, because we believe that that is the land of opportunity. That continent is under tractorized, or under, shall we say, it has a very low saturation level at the moment for tractors and implements. It offers for India a very fine opportunity to be relevant in a market that is seriously emerging.
Tractorization of Tanzania, of course, is a very worthwhile project. Now, do you think we could see a fairly decent shift here in revenue composition in favor of exports over the next 2 or 3 years?
I would hesitate to make that conclusion. There might be variations, like for example from let us say about 92 ratio of 92 to 8, it might go to 90-10, but it's not going to make a major difference in composition. What is important, however, is that large orders like this create a float of your machines in a certain market, and therefore that stimulates future demand by its own presence.
Mr. Mal, with the agri-machinery segment in particular, the most important segment for you, it's been a turnaround of sorts, but how are you looking at the coming 3 months in light of the monsoon period?
Firstly, the monsoon looks good so far. Where I'm sitting in Delhi, we've had rains for the last few days, and I think it's progressing northwards. Secondly, do remember, Vishal, that last year we had almost a failed monsoon, but the agri-machinery sector stood out in contrast. Now, I think a monsoon does have an impact on sentiment, but that's not the only thing that determines sales performance or the need for tractors. Going forward, to your question, going forward in the next 3 months, I do see buoyant demand continuing.
Right, Mr. Mal, do you suspect that could see a sharp rise in capacity utilization if the monsoon does shape up strongly, or do you think you will be in the levels of 50% utilization only?
Firstly, let me correct your perception about our capacity utilization. It is not 50%, it's more like 66 to 67%. So that's the first thing. Second, many months in the last few months, we've hit capacity on the given month or on the given day. So it's as if we are hitting our top capacity utilization. I suspect going forward, in fact, we should be looking at capacity utilizations in the region between 66 and 75%. Now, in terms of productive capacity, even today, we are probably at about 78%. So while there might be minor debottlenecking in the future, and you just put it in context, life on capacity utilization looks between 65, 67% to 78, 80% depending on which index you use. So it's a healthy capacity utilization and getting healthier as the days go by.
Right. Mr. Mal, apologize for getting your capacity utilization number wrong there. Of course, that number was supplied to me by our auto analyst Vishal Bhargav, the one that you mistook me for earlier on in the interview. Now, most automakers have raised prices. Escorts done the same, and can we see some more price hikes here?
We haven't increased prices in the recent past. Having said that, there is an upward pressure on prices, which is constant. Inflation is not slowing down. It may become necessary to calibrate and look at a price increase in the near future. I suspect in the course of the next few weeks, we should seriously look at that decision. And I expect that there will be some increases going forward.
Can you quantify what type of price hikes may be necessary at this point in time?
Difficult to come to a sharp percentage on a view like this, but I suspect we would need and we will pass on price increases to the extent of between 2 to 3% going forward.
Right. Now, how is the current environment, Mr. Mal, when it comes to financing? Do you think that the recent monetary tightening measures will have an impact?
Good question. Firstly, I am not particularly concerned about interest rates going up and down by 1-2%. Think about this, Vishal, that when a farmer takes a loan for a period of between 5 to 7 years, the impact on the equated monthly installment, the EMI, can be very, very little on a swing of 1% or 2%. Yeah? The of concern to this industry is not the price of capital, it's the availability of capital. And I do see good signs in the recent past of NBFCs and other financial institutions in the private sector actually coming forward and filling the breach that was there in the months gone by from the public sector banks. Currently, I think we are in a fairly healthy position in respect of availability. There are places in the country which are underserved, but I think by and large the situation has improved. I think the government is placing its policy directions in the right space, and things have improved in the recent past.
All right, Mr. Mal, many thanks for joining us in ET. Now, good to have you on the show. That's Escorts in trade. Let's pull up the price chart, holding up very well. In fact, strong moves coming in on the counter in trade today, up by about nearly 1.5%, 194 thereabouts.